versus Strahd, episode 13. Oh man, we went right from one into the other. We started the session off with a skill challenge where the saber-toothed tiger situation busted into the fire festival, which is as the module says, whenever the fire festival goes off, there's a saber-toothed tiger comes through. Like, it seems a little bit random, but it does kind of tie into the whole Rictavio situation, which we'll get to in here in a second. So, during the skill challenge, to get the skill challenge out of the way quick, and then I'll talk about the big crazy parts of the session, is we had a skill challenge where there is a tiger running through a festival, basically, and trying to get from point A to point B being the gates to the city, and it's got to run through the town square to get there, right? And a bunch of different people have a bunch of different goals, and the guards are trying to stop it and catch it, maybe kill it. The tiger itself is trying to get away, and then the party is doing whatever they're doing. So I had multiple different factions, if you want to call it here, and I was adding skills. If somebody made a success on the check, I added that success towards whatever the goal was. Is it escape? Is it catch? Is it kill? Whatever, right? Come up with a new goal. We can add towards that, sure, right? Also, meanwhile, during all of the skill challenge, the rogue, who had invisibility cast on them, left and went to the coffin shop. And if y'all don't know, the coffin shop is where the location of the bones are that the party's been looking for and searching for this whole time. So the rogue forfeited the skill challenge and went to the coffin shop. And I was like, all right, I respect that. I want to be able to give him a reward in some way for that. So he's going to be able to play that here in a second. So he just had to sit there while everybody else played the skill challenge, but then we flipped it around and he got to do his own thing by himself while everybody else watched him. So it balances out, right? Anyway, so skill challenge is going down, and they basically side on the side of this saber-toothed tiger. There's a barbarian in the group that loves animals and kept trying to reach out to this animal. It was not going well. Everybody else was casting a blinding light to try and blind the guards and stuff, and they all kind of helped each other. And it ended up being the barbarian won the skill challenge with the final big success, going along and helping the cat, called the cat, speaking to it in using speak with animals type of situation, speak to the cat to call it down in a side alleyway. They ran down the side alleyway, and she tried to hide the tiger in the alley, and then turned back around to the guards and was like trying to delay and stall them. Meanwhile, the rest of the party sees Rictavio jumping from rooftop to rooftop, going around, and then drops down where the tiger goes, and then takes the tiger out from hiding and runs away with it, riding it off in there. So now they know, from a lore storytelling perspective, Rictavio is tied with this saber-toothed tiger in some way. That's interesting. What, right? So that's an interesting little twist there. That is a little plot hook there. But now they save the tiger with Rictavio being able to escape on it, and then now the guards are there. And then we cut over to Felix in the coffin shop. This was crazy, and I really want to give a full play-by-play. If you want to see the full thing, really, it's just the whole story. It is available on my Patreon. It's all patrons get access to my live plays right whenever I release them, and those are available right now. So I release the videos side by side. These on this channel is more so the breakdown, behind-the-scenes side of things, and on there is the live play side of things, which eventually will grow and continue, and eventually we'll see where that whole thing goes. But anyway, that is appreciate you to the people that are supporting there, and I appreciate you to the people watching this second channel of mine. Dungeon Coach Plays is my second channel, and it's just fun here, and we just kind of talk and hang out. So anyway, and give some behind the scenes stuff of what different twists and turns are going on here, because now I have one player in the coffin shop. He lockpicks his way into the coffin shop, gets inside, and now he's exploring and searching around this coffin shop. So I am now on the back foot. I don't know what the heck he's going to do. I know that there are 6 vampires upstairs, and then there's Henrik. Is Henrik there, or does Henrik attend the festival? In my head, I came up with, on the fly, my first thought was, yeah, Henrik's at the festival. I was like, no, that's more lame. That's lame. Henrik would be here. He's protecting the bones. So then Henrik's in there, and then the rogue's in here invisible, and he's listening. He rolls extremely high, listening in on some things. He rolls a natural 20 also on a later roll, and hears some conversations. And I'm like, here's what you hear. And so he's hearing the vampires plot and scheme. He's hearing Henrik say, no, please don't, no, and like talking about all this kind of stuff, right? So it's really cool, and it's really tense with him sitting in there invisible. And then I calculated, I said, you only have about 10 minutes left in this invisibility. And now there's another level of tension, because he's inside this room with multiple vampire situations happening, and his invisibility is about to run out. But the group is on their way, after dealing with all the tiger stuff, on their way towards the coffin shop. But it's across town. They had some time to get there. So he's talking to them psychically because he's a soul knife rogue, and he's playing the soul knife role brilliantly. It's crazy to watch. But then the rest of the group's on their way there, and he sees these vampires kind of getting ready, and he's like invisible in the corner, and he's like relaying things psychically to his group. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And then he finds out that they are going to take Henrik, and we have to relocate the bones. Strahd has a connection through Lars and knows everything that's going on because he's literally seeing through Lars, right? And then okay. Since he's seeing through Lars, he knows that everything's going on. So then, therefore, I'm thinking about all this stuff as I'm going through. They have to move the bones. They can't keep them here anymore. They got to move them somewhere else. And a few sessions ago, they came to the coffin shop and almost found the bones, but then didn't. So they got to relocate them. So they're telling Henrik to relocate them, and they're going to take him to where next to Strahd's house. Strahd's secret identity is Vasily von Holtz. Vasily von Holtz has a secret mansion, a little nice house, and they're going to bury the bones in the house next to it, just to keep it further away from Strahd, because he can't be in the same house as those bones. So they move the bones. They're relocating it to the spot. So then they have to escort Henrik over there. So they're escorting Henrik, and now it turns into this weird escort quest that is so cool, and is nothing I've ever ran off before. But these two vampires, of the 6 of them, are escorting Henrik through the city to the house. The other 4 of them are in the house, hiding and waiting and setting a trap. Now, Felix the Rogue is still inside the house. So he psychically tells them, hey, somebody come up and open this door. Open this door. It's unlocked. I already unlocked it. Open the door so that my invisible butt can run out and then close it so I don't have, otherwise, because there's a vampire that's keeping watch. And again, I never planned for there to be a vampire keeping watch. But it made sense in the certain stakes to be like, you know what? Yeah, this is what's going to happen. How are you going to get out of this one, Felix? So there's a vampire that's like looking outside the house in the room that Felix is in. So very smart move. The barbarian opens the door, and then Felix comes out. I made them make perception. I had them make some rolls for it to make it, to keep the stakes there. And the vampires did kind of figure out that they were kind of sketchy, and then we'll get to that in a second. So then now 4 of them are in the house. 2 of them are escorting this guy. The group gets back together and tries to get ahead of him, and they're kind of like following him. But then Felix runs along the rooftops, Assassin's Creed style, tracks them down, psychically is talking to them, walks all the way, and then Strahd starts tapping into that connection he has with Lars. And I was like, you know what? They're about to just absolutely stomp on this whole thing, but I can't just let this pact with Strahd go. I can't let it go. So if I had not had a pact with Strahd, if Lars the Bard did not make a pact with Strahd to where Strahd can see through his own eyes and partially manipulate him in some ways, they would have instantly jumped these vampires, got the bones, and called it a day. But this became a much bigger deal because of this connection with Strahd. So Strahd, I told Lars, I was like, roll a d20 for me. This was a charisma saving throw. I did not tell him this. I said, roll a d20 for me. I see his modifiers behind my screen. I add the numbers for him in my head. And then I would say he rolled low, and that's Strahd's actively looking through everything right now, hearing and seeing everything. And as soon as he saw that, the other vampires immediately stopped. Wait. And they were alerted of in whatever way. So they started acting different. So long story short, because I don't want to give a full play-by-play of the little mini skill challenge, followed by the escort quest, followed by a full-blown combat in the streets with a theater of the mind map that was crazy. Basically, the 2 vampires split up, and one of them was escorting Henrik to a new location because the jig's up. Strahd alerted them that they're being followed, and they're trying to figure it out, which then alerts the vampires in the house to leave and start making their way over there, right? So now we have 4 vampires converging on the group, 2 vampires kind of looking for the group, right? They still know exactly where they're at, right? And then Felix the Rogue, says something, talks about Vasily to one of the guards, and one of the vampires, and the vampires turns around and attacks him, and then combat breaks out, and here we go. So now it's a battle in the streets. Basically, this battle was initially started as a battle. It started as a battle, and then one of the vampires got the bones, and this battle now became grab the bones and run. These are the bones of St. Andros. If these bones get to the church, they're dead. Like that's not good, right? The church becomes hallowed ground again. Not good, not good, not good, right? So the vampires have to get these bones. Every time they touch the bones, they take 10 points of radiant damage, and they no longer regenerate, and they are now become vulnerable to radiant damage. So touching the bones is very bad for these vampires, right? And it literally turned into that was the game. I was trying to get the bones and run the whole time. 2 vampires were there trying to get it and run. I almost, with the first 2 vampires, I had a spot where I was literally ready to go. But then I got thwarted. And then 2 more vampires come. I had the spot where I was literally ready to go. And they're like, we're screwed. And then hold person. And then we're screwed. And then creative use of Dissonant Whispers turns the guy around, runs him back this way. Command spells. All this different stuff. Grapples and the people not killing a vampire extremely quickly with all the damage coming together. All these different things and different uses of all these different spells and abilities kept thwarting at the last second. So there's 3 close calls where the vampires would their movement speed and all that kind of stuff is crazy. They'd be able to just get out of there, and they kept getting stopped. A hold person with the rogue coming and grabbing it, a hold person from the cleric with the rogue grabbing it out there, the fighter and the paladin grappling and holding on these things and doing a whole bunch of damage to them. Lars fighting with Strahd. At the beginning of every single one of Lars, the bard's turn, at the beginning of every single one, I had to make a charisma save. And at one point, he rolled a natural 1 on the charisma save, and I had him cast a spell against his own allies. And they're like, oh no, this is not good. So, it was very much a battle that Lars was going through, and it was just so cool. It was such a fun fight for me to play in a different way, and I only could assume and see the rest of the players that they had fun in a different way instead of just fighting. And I've talked about this all the time in videos about don't have a fight, just be kill them before they kill me. Oh no. Like, no. I was using these vampires' abilities as best I could to try and get them. Not I maybe I could have dealt more damage to them to try and take them out that way, but there were so many times where I got so close. So I really don't think I would have played it any differently, where one roll goes a different way, one badass move goes a different way. They didn't think of a really cool idea, then I was out of there and I would have gotten the bones. They're holding the bones as it burns them alive, right? Trying to run and get out of there. So super cool escape, all this kind of stuff. Felix, they end up they get the bones, they pass it down to the ground, and then on the ground, one of the vampires takes it, runs away. The bard, Dissonant Whispers, turns them around, runs it back this way, grabs it, throws it to the cleric. The cleric holds it out and hands it to the rogue as the rogue runs off and bonus action dash, bonus full movement speed with extra feats that they've taken for movement to do 120 movement feet per round and just bolt off like a freaking football player, run into the church with the bones. Absolutely crazy. They finished off all the 6 vampires. Nuts. That's where we ended off. But I wanted to end this off with a bang. So I rolled a D20, which I'll call these fate rolls. High, low. It's a D10, DC 10 fate roll. 9 and lower, something bad happens. 10 and higher, everything's cool, right? I rolled an 8. Something bad happens. The bad thing happens is Isaac shows up. Now, they're having a fight in the streets with vampires. The guards are going to show up, right? The guards are going to show up. The guards show up. Isaac's in the guards. And then Isaac, if you don't know, is now Isaac... In the regular Curse of Strahd situation, Isaac is obsessed with Irina. He's related to Irina, and he's brother sister with Irina, and they're long lost siblings or whatever. The Curse of Strahd spoiler situation, right? This also, you should know this whole entire thing is Curse of Strahd spoilers. It's from a Dungeon Master perspective that's running Curse of Strahd, so be careful for that. I do apologize if you didn't know that, but this whole thing is Strahd behind the scenes. It's going to be spoilers, so hopefully that didn't spoil anything. Rules as written, Irina is the long-lost sister of Isaac, which is the captain of the guards, the burgomaster's captain of the guards. I have changed it to be, it's Sergei, Strahd's brother. Strahd has a brother named Sergei. Sergei is this body. It's a soulless body. Sergei's soul is in the blade of the sun blade. His soul is there. His body is here. He's been separated by all of this crazy dark magic that's going on, and he's the soulless. So he sees Irina, and he's like, oh my God, it's his long-lost love. But he doesn't know it, and it's his soulless body, and he's drawn towards Irina in this way. And Isaac's there. He has this whole situation go on, and he says, arrest that woman, pointing to Irina. And Irina's getting arrested at the end of the session. And then that's where we ended the session. Felix about to reach the church and then arrest her. What's going to happen at the top of the next session is we're going to see how the whole arrest goes. They are going to arrest Irina. They're going to arrest Irina. That's just going to happen, right? It's just going to. Or it's going to throw down to a combat in the streets again. It's going to be bad. I don't know what's going to happen. So Felix, on the way to the church, he's going to get confronted by Vasily. Vasily is going to be at the front of the church, and he's going to get confronted by Vasily. Vasily is Strahd, and we'll see how that goes down. So there's y'all's cliffhanger for the next time. So stay creative. Think outside the box, because this whole campaign has been outside the box. Peace.